What up? What up? Welcome back, Trading Unfiltered. What up, big dog?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, starting this week off. Okay. Can't complain. How'd you do today?
I did pretty good, man. I'm happy with how the day turned out. I was texting you this morning. I was like, I think I'm done. And you know how it is. I heard somebody say the other day, you can't ever trust a trader when they say they're done.
No, I think we both said we're done, and then we both trickled back in for a little bit more action, like later in the day, but kept it minimal. Neither one. I don't think we over traded per se.
Yeah, and I've been trading a lot less. That's something I've been trying to do. Hit a little bit more size when I have conviction and trade less this year. Because last year I was trading a lot.
That's how I feel like I was doing last week, trading everything, but it was a lot of opportunities. But
True.
Back on track this week. Today, trade review. Short, sweet, simple. A couple decent trades each. And yeah, let's do this thing.
Hit it.
All right. So I'm gonna knock mine out first because mine aren't as good as yours.
Nah, whatever, man. That's not true.
Oh, it's true. All right, so I got two today. One was okay. One was good. One was actually my favorite pattern. Don't see it too often for me that fit all the criteria, but when I see it, I love it and I hit it pretty hard. Gonna save that one for the last. So this one, put this one up here. So this was a day one play, GMVD. Not great, not bad. I made it work though. Had some good ads after it broke down, and that's really what made it good. As you can see, I was a little bit early, but let's see here. All right, can you see my mouse there?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So one thing I've been doing lately that's worked for me, and this is just for me, this little short right at the open. I am not an opening print short kind of guy. But what I've been doing on these major movers, because I think this was today's biggest gapper, if I remember right. I don't remember the exact gap percent off the top of my head, like 60%, big gap. What I've been doing on these major gappers is taking like super tiny size right at open, like 50 shares, 20 shares, could be 10 shares, whatever. Just something to nip that FOMO for me. And for me, that has worked nicely. So that's why this is a short right there at the open. Did I think it was going to tank it open? No. But if it did, at least I was in it and didn't feel like I completely missed it and just kind of cured that FOMO. So that's what that is. My first real entry with size was right there at VWAP. I like shorting at VWAP. I like doing that with day ones. This one didn't. I like it to break down below VWAP a little bit more and then pop up to VWAP. This one opened a little too close to VWAP. So I was a little bit early, obviously. Covered here right before it halted and then re-hit after it opened on this fake breakout. I love fake breakout candles. I love shorting fake breakout candles, especially on day one plays. I hit it pretty heavy and was really risking like a break and hold of 7. So it started after I entered, started flirting here with the 7 and I covered half. I reduced my size down to half on that green cover there, which in hindsight sucked because obviously it proceeded to just tank. So because of that, for better or worse, it worked out on this one. I kind of revenge traded a little bit right in here. Like I added pretty heavy on that opening level, thinking if it breaks down there, it's going to really just kind of crash, which it did. It worked out. So I turned it into a pretty good trade. because of these ads. But if it weren't for these ads clustered up right here, this would not have turned out. It would have probably been a break-even trade. This was a recycle. Wasn't like I added more size. It was just a recycle. Covered some here, finished off here. I wanted to get like a floor wash of these lows, but when this thing popped here around, it was like an afternoon pop on nothing. There was like no volume on this thing, and it just ripped. If it would have broke VWAP and held, I would have cut my last piece off and been done with it. So when it broke down again to like prior lows, I just went ahead and covered, was all out.
Man, you remember like back in October when they were all like, I remember I was banking hard on the long side, like these afternoon ones they would rip up to VWAP on like low volume, and then next thing you know, they would make new high of days. You know what I mean?
That's the thing I want to get better at is afternoon breakouts. I want to do better with that this year on the long side.
Yeah, man, for a while there, like last year, I'm not even gonna lie, man. It just because I had a rough spot like a couple months into last year when I was trying different things.
Right.
Doing that and stuff towards the end of last year, really got me a good bit more profitable on the year.
Yeah, I would like to get better at that.
Just for a while, I was done longing. Like that towards the end of like 21, I was like, I'm only gonna short, but came on back to it,
Can't stay away from shorting. It's my baby.
I know, man, and like this play, like this GMVD, it's you never know, and I know you have to treat them all like they're gonna be.
Yeah, risk management. Yeah, you definitely got to control your risk on these, especially this. This was a low floater, and typically for me, I don't like holding low floaters for an all-day fade. They could rip. This one ripped on a pretty. A few 100,000 shares, and this thing, almost ripped up $1. So when it got back down to lows, I was happy to be done with it. Low floater, day ones, they're tough. They can be headaches. So fortunately, I kind of worked this into a pretty good trade with these ads and that cluster, but it worked out. One other thing I want to show with this though, because this is all, I show my trades on a 1-minute chart just so people can see them. I actually enter in and out on a 2-minute, I enter in on a 2-minute, and I usually exit on the 15s, or I reference the 15-minute charts a lot. And I was going to show, let's see here, my other piece of the thesis for that ticker, I guess if you want to call it that. So this is the same ticker, right? Just a 15-minute chart. And this really, because we're all about confluence, right? You and I talk a lot about that. Like we want multiple reasons to be in a trade, not just one specific thing. So the pattern was there. The gap percent was there. VWAP being heavy was there. And for me, something I like to see on this. So on the left-hand side of this, you can see this is like, they call it the volume profile. So huge volume right there at that 620 to 640 level. So once I saw it at open, fake breakout above that and fall back below, that's why I added in pretty heavy right there, because once it breaks down below that key volume level, that becomes some really, really tough resistance. And obviously that's where all the volume was. This is the 15-minute on the whole day. And even over the course of the whole day, this chart did not accumulate as much volume as it did here on these open levels. So this was major distribution right through there. And when it crashed down below that, in my mind, that should have became resistance, which it did. Even if it would have gotten back up to that level, it would have been hard pressed to break out above it, because there was obviously a ton of sellers in that level. If it had broke above that level and held, I would have been a little worried. Buyers are control. I would have hopefully not messed with it. But this for me was another piece of confluence. That huge volume profile candle right there at the breakout level, huge distribution. So when it broke down, That gave me the confidence on these ads. And I like to exit, like I said, in the 15 minutes. So, nice breakdown, kind of held that level, covered some there. Like I said, the recycle, covered again on that level, covered again on that level. So I love the 15-minute chart. It calms me down. It's less, I don't know, less choppy. You just don't have to sit through all that, the craziness on the 2-minute or even sometimes the 5-minute. But this gave me some nice conviction to hold too when it popped up here. This is a nice fake breakout candle on the 15-minute. You got one here, you got a few, and then you got the big one here. So it just never gave any real conviction that it was going to break out. So this is why I like using the 15-minute chart.
I like that. And I like bigger time frames as well. I'm always looking through all different time frames throughout the day.
Yeah, daily is probably my favorite. 15 minutes is probably my second favorite. And then, of course, I'm trading off the 2-minute. But that volume profile right there, that for me was a real big piece of this puzzle. Like, to see it break down below that gave me convictions for the ad. So that's the other piece of that. Trade 1 didn't start great, ended pretty solid. Can't complain. Trade 2, and then we're going to move on to your bangers. But trade 2, this is my favorite pattern. It's still one of my favorite patterns. It hasn't been as omnipresent as it was in 2020 and 2021. 2022, it had some hit and misses. Hopefully, though, this year we see more of it because this worked out nicely. What is this? BuzzFeed, BZFD. This was a first red day pattern. This again is a 1-minute chart. Good move. It went lower at the very, very end of day. But I mean, if I'm up like 15, 20%, I'm at a point where I got to lock that in.
Oh yeah, man. The times that you don't, it's Murphy's Law. And I mean,
yeah.
I'm kind of like I usually try to hold a piece all day, but man, there's so many times where you're just like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Well, this one, I don't have the whole day chart up, but this one actually did end up reclaiming and chopped around, and then it faded off hard at the very end of the day. So that would have been a headache. So I have no regrets about locking in that 20%. I'm good with it. But again, on this one, I want to show, because this is the 1-minute first red day, but I want to show the 15-minute on this because it tells a much better story. Let's see here. So this is a 15-day, 15-minute chart of the same ticker, BZFD. You can see my execution on the far right. Entered here, exit here. The reason that this, for me, is a solid first red day, for me, and everybody's first red day criteria is a little bit different. For me, I want to see at least 3 green days in a row with a minimum up of at least 100%. In my opinion, the higher the better, but minimum 100%. Technically, this did have 3 green days in a row. This day over here was a green day, didn't offer a lot. Ideally, I would like to see 3 huge green days, or 4 or 5, whatever. You're just waiting for that first little gap down. And what I'd like to see is after it finished here, created a little gap down. My ideal entry for this, and first red days, I'll hit it open. I would have added size though at that red to green spot and would have risked a breakout of 420, the old high. That's how I would have played it. I would have added it red to green. I'd have risked 420. Obviously didn't get to red to green, so I didn't have as much size on it as I would have preferred, but still a really good trade. And again, using the 15-minute time frame for me is key. Dotted line was the previous close level. I wanted to get in as close to that line as possible. Obviously, it didn't give that to me, but still, this was like a 20% move, maybe a little more. It'd been closer to 25. Math is hard off the top of my head. Solid move though, solid trade. I love first red days because it's easy to identify risk. It's easy to identify entry. And the risk reward on these, in my opinion, is huge. I think it actually did end up going down to the, this is the 15,200. I think it did end up going down there by the end of the day.
Yeah, it
Still.
did. It dumped off huge in
Yeah.
like the last hour or so. I remember.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
But for me, that's an ideal first red day. Sometimes on the first red days, I will swing a piece because oftentimes you get, you start getting that slow fade over the course of time. I didn't do that on this one. I probably would have done that had I had 3 really big green days in a row. This one technically only had 2. But that's where back testing comes into play, your statistics, your data, things of that nature. Either way, first red day worked out beautifully. I love the pattern. Easy to identify risk spot, easy to identify entry, great risk reward. I can't ask for much better than that. I mean, I think on this trade, let me zoom back in so I can see here. So I was going to risk basically like 20, 25 cents to make basically 75. 3-to-1 risk reward. Take that all day.
That was a good trade, man. And I've never been one to trade first red days. Like, I've never been good at it. And I don't know, ever since me and you've got to be like talking about it a lot. I took that one with you a couple weeks ago, and
oh yeah, I forgot. I don't even know what that ticker was anymore.
It was GOTU.
Go to. You know what? Little off subject here. Remember how I was stalking that Dada play for like weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it today?
No, I didn't, but
it cracked. I wasn't a part of it. Closed down like 20% today. After stalking it for weeks and weeks. And then, anyway, is what it is. That's what I get for taking I took it off my list, my little extra screen for one day. That's all it took.
That's how it goes, man. I know how you feel.
But I will say, so those are a couple nice little trades. First red day, yes, I will hit those on opening print. Look to add at that red to green level. Day ones, for me, like I said, I've been hitting the open with 20 shares, 10 shares, 50 shares, whatever. Tiny size just to bite the FOMO bug, which for me has been awesome. Because then if it tanks, I feel like, oh, sweet, I'm a part of the move. And I don't know, it's just calmed my nerves a little bit. So, like, it doesn't look great for Twitter, but don't care.
Man, and I used to do stuff like that too, and now I don't. And I really need to get back in the habit of it. Like, nobody knows the size I'm hitting stuff with, but
right
when I posted that GOTU trade,
yeah,
like I put some like a couple hundred shares pre-market, and then like a couple hundred more at open, and then it spiked up like, I don't know, it was like 15 or 20 cents.
Yeah, I remember that. But you even said this, I think, on the show, on Twitter one. I mean, you planned it with the risk level at that obvious level that it was not breaking through. Like, it was such an obvious level, and you just played up to that level.
$4 or something. And,
yeah.
Like, I added a ton of shares at $4. And it ended up being like a big win.
Yeah, it was a solid trade.
That was a good one. And, I had people being like, I guess just because people aren't used to seeing me trade like that. I used to trade, man, like some of those charts I posted from like a year or so ago, where I'm adding from like $6 to $11, and like, it wasn't like I was adding 50 shares. Like, I'm adding 1,000 shares, 5,000 shares, 6,000 shares. I'm like, I'm down 20K, and I'm holding in. I'm like,
yep,
or more, and just doing stupid stuff like that. I don't trade like that anymore. So like like I'm so far the opposite now, but I am gonna start. I don't want to say like having wider wrist. I just, with like I mean, like that one, like I added in some size there at that level, but I wasn't going to let it go any further.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the plan, right? Like on BZFD today, the first red day, I did not get full size because I was planning on hitting an ad at that red to green level. It didn't make it there, but that was pre-planned, right? Like, and that's where position sizing and risk management and before I enter a trade, I've already calculated out my share size, where I want to get in at, where I want to get out at. So there's no mystery to it. It's like these are my levels, these are going to be like it's pre-planned to a degree. So, and yeah, that go-to one we talked about was the obvious level. You played it up to the level, and it was a good trade. Speaking of good trades.
Well, hey, actually, speaking of bad trades.
Uh-oh.
This one from today. HSCS. Here, I'll show it to you. This is my first one.
I didn't play this ticker today, but this one was tricky.
Does that look okay?
Yep.
So yeah, not a lot of chart history on this one, and I was pretty much just watching everything at the open, So can you see my mouse?
Yep.
So like right here, I was watching it there, and I was like, man, I almost hit a long on it, just because I can't remember what percent it was up at this point, but it was holding VWAP after open, and I saw a few people on Twitter longing it and stuff. I was like, dang, man, I hadn't been hitting many longs lately. But so spikes up. I've got the Heikenashis on here. I don't remember if it halted or what, but
I feel like, dang, did that one halt? I can't remember.
Yeah, I have this Heikenashi chart, so
I think it did halt. Could be wrong about that, but anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I took a pretty decent amount of size right here on this little lower high area, and then it kind of started. I was thinking it was gonna do this number right here, like it did, hit VWAP, and then start crashing. Maybe. I took off I took off like a quarter at VWAP, but I had a limit order that I'd forgot about because I was thinking that it might do like a little fake out and then start crashing. So I had my last quarter. I'm about 3/4 size here, and the last quarter of size I had a limit order set. So I cover some here, and this thing just
ripped.
It's just ripped up, like teleported.
Because this is a 1 minute chart, so that move on the 1 minute, that's fast.
Yeah, man. Like, and I was just sitting there at the desk.
Actually, me and you were texting when this happened, because I remember I texted you like WTF, because that thing, like you said, it just teleported.
Yeah, man. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm feeling pretty good now. I was like, I'll take off a quarter. Well, so then it spikes and fills that, and then I immediately just marketed out of the rest of it right there. And I was like, man, this price action, I was like, I'm not even going to fool with it. There's not enough history on the daily chart, and that's something I'm trying to do this year. Like, last year, charts for me like this, you would have seen me fighting it all day long. And right here, this wick was like we talk about the 1 minute 200 EMA.
Yep.
This wick was like a fake breakdown on the 1 minute 200, and then again teleport,
ripped
straight up. But like you always talk about, being above VWAP, time of day, and the 1 minute 200 catching up doesn't always happen, but on a day one like this, I mean, that's a long,
Yeah, for me, and I know you and I have talked about this, like for me, if it's holding above VWAP, so we're central time. So for me, or for us, I should say, if it's holding above VWAP at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, for me, it's a it's a big red flag.
Right. So that's and I have you saying that in my head, and I'm thinking, do I want to play this long? I had something similar happen on BuzzFeed last week. It was like it was the only trade I took on Friday, and I took a loss on it. And similar situation. Didn't love the price action, whatever, and it went way further. But yeah, this one, even though after fees and whatnot, it was already a little loss, but it'll be, not a great loss. It won't be anything bad.
Yeah, I think you played it well. You managed the risk well. And what's tricky about these tickers, and I think what gets lost sometimes in translation, is this is pretty low price ticker. So like that quick teleport move from like 2 to 240 in the matter of like 10 seconds. That's like a 20% move in 10 seconds.
Yes.
Like huge range. This thing it doesn't look like it has a lot of range, but this thing had a lot of range. Yeah. I mean, this in my opinion, and now we can easily say it in hindsight, but in my opinion, I think you played it well, and the fact that you left it alone is like, that was smart. I mean, yeah, there was a potential for a long there, but
here,
because it could have swiped down as easy as it swiped up. This thing was pretty crazy. Well done in my opinion as far as managing the risk.
Thank you. And and I like to think about it like I have this written down on a little sticky note, and I say it to myself all the time. Just because it's not a short doesn't mean it's a long. And sometimes, just with me being, kind of like double-breasted on the whole thing, like I go long and short, primarily short, I'll see situations like that, and depending on what kind of mood I'm in and how focused in I am, I might have hit that long. But as you know, I've been sick for like a couple of weeks. Yeah, man, and I think I'm getting better now. But definitely been trading a lot less. But I'm about to get back to hitting it hard just because beginning of the year and
new month, 2 more days, new month.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it is. February too is my birthday month, so
same.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, we've got to kill it in February.
Yes, we do.
Well, so I'll call that my bad trade of the day. I mean, that was the loser of the day.
But you managed it well. Like sometimes it happens, but I love your first entry right there at that lower high. Thought that was a really good entry, low risk. Like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Here, let me go ahead and let's see.
Is it time for the kill shot?
Yeah, let me find this other one.
What was the other one you traded that you were going to show?
It was a lower priced ticker. It was BSFC.
This one is sexy, as they say.
Thanks, man. And dude, I hammered this one. Like when I saw that rejection right there, like these, I love these. I don't know, like it was like a perfect little.
Yeah, it was a constant like lower high, because every one of those candles was like a fake breakout ish. Like, they spiked, failed, but it got lower every time, and then you freaking hammered that one. And in my opinion, it's one of these. Sniped it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was thrilled with this one.
That's good. That's a nice trade. That's the things that like I would dream of right there. That's good. That's pretty.
Thanks, man. And like I wish I would have like started waiting to cover, because at this point I'm like, I was thinking, dang, dude, is this about to go red on the day? And I or like start really, really dropping off. But the RSI was super. It was like way under 30. And usually when something's made a move like this, I'm like, okay, it's time to start covering it. It was like near the end of the day, whatever. I've got to cover these last shares. At this point, I think I had like 600 or 700 shares left, and I thought I had 1,000, and so I took it off, and I accidentally longed a couple hundred shares, and so I had to sell those right there. And but anyway, like, yeah,
No, this is a good trade. I've been doing more of this, where you kind of scaled out.
yeah, like
I've been doing more of that in the last 3 or 4 months just to lock it in. Like I used to go for the big picture, big position, 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2. But I've been scaling out a little bit more just to kind of lock it in, especially when your first lock in is what? 15% move on that first lock in. Like, dude, yeah, you got to lock in some of that.
Yeah, and I think I was only locking in like a quarter right here. So it was a pretty nice size win. I like these low price tickers. I like the way they've been moving.
I've always liked them. I know some guys don't trade sub dollar. I used to not trade sub $1.50 because I hated them, but I started doing that back testing and all my data collection, and I freaking got it together, and I love a low price ticker now.
They do. They perform well. I mean, I don't know the last time that I've had like a bad trade on one of these.
And again, like, just because it's low prices, I mean, there's not a ton of range. I mean, this thing almost dropped 50% from 70 down to almost 35. Like, huge range.
I know, man, and I didn't think it was going to work out this good, honestly.
Oh, that's a good one. That's like it. You can't really call this a parabolic because it kind of gapped and faded. So it's like a weird hybrid pattern. But this almost, the way it failed like a parabolic.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of treating it like a parabolic. And as far as my risk, like this level right here, if it would have breached that, I probably would have been all out.
So you risked 6 cents to make. I can't even the math. 6 cents to make 30. I mean, like a 5 to 1.
Yeah, that's about right.
And here I was bragging about my 3 to 1 first red day, and then here he comes with a 5 to 1.
Man, I mean,
I'm just kidding. It's a good trade.
Thanks, man. I do envy the people that can short stuff like this and hold it until the end of the day. Like I'll start looking at the 1 minute 200, and then I'll start looking at the 5 minute 200, like thinking of cover targets, and I'm and VWAP. Obviously if it was obviously VWAP's way up here, but sometimes cover targets are hard for me sometimes.
Well, yeah, but I think the way you scaled out of it, I mean, I like locking in that 15%, then you locked in about another 10, I mean, I don't think you could have played that much better, because I've been doing more of that too. Instead of trying to catch the whole thing with full size, I have been taking some exits, especially on the day one play, especially when it's a low float, like GV, whatever that trade was I showed a little bit ago.
GMVD.
Yeah, like those low floaters, man, like you got to lock in some of that, because that thing can spike up on air and you can be upside down or break even.
Yeah, if it was me, I'm usually upside down.
I think this was perfect. The way you scaled out was nice too.
Thanks, man. I'm thrilled with this one. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of a weird pattern, but it's really just like a lower high short, just at an odd time of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out nice. That's a good one.
Thanks, man.
Can't ask for nothing better on that.
I'm happy with it.
Yep. All right, so that's trade reviews 1 and 2. Mine were good. Yours were better. Well done. Well done.
And, that yours were good. Yours were really good.
No, that was good stuff, man. I like doing trade review. It's fun.
Me too. I feel like that's probably one of the most helpful things.
It is. So anybody watching, we're just doing this for this and with each other, but like, you gotta journal your shit. Like, you got to journal your shit.
But it's so nice, like to bounce ideas off of, if you've got like a close knit group or your buddy or whatever, and you bounce ideas, say here was my trade, here's my risk, and then your buddy might say, well, what about this? And it's like, well, I wasn't looking at that, and so that's something that you can add to your notes.
Yep. For sure. It's good to do trade review with people. It's good to do prep with people. The pods, as they call them. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Trading can be lonely, and you do it by yourself. It can be tough mentally, emotionally, physically, if you're doing it 12 plus hours a day. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's good to have somebody to bounce stuff off of or do trade review with. And speaking of that, we've already put this out on Twitter and we've mentioned it before. But in 2 days, February 1st, we are officially launching the small cap portion of the New Age Wall Street service. So New Age Wall Street, they do options, right? Cruz, options master. I mean, he's really good at that. But he reached out. Long story short, we are heading up the small cap portions of that service. So that starts February 1st. So hopefully we can get some people in there and we can chop this stuff up with other people, both in prep, review, strategies, all that. I'm looking forward to it personally. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, man, 2 days.
Oh yeah, we still got a lot of work to do, but it's coming together.
We do. We'll finish up some room stuff between now and the 1st and get everything ready to go. But yeah, that what New Age Wall Street's one of the few that's going to have multiple equity types that they teach, do, review, whatever. Most services only offer one type, so yeah, it's one of the few out there that's going to do multiple types.
Most rooms, there's a lot of long rooms and several short bias rooms, and then I don't know about options rooms. Cruz is the only options guy I really know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some out there, but there's not a lot. But he's a hardworking guy, man. He does his own coding around options. He's got some great software integrated into his services. I mean, he's on his game when it comes to options. Dude's a beast. So
yeah, super cool guy. I met him at the
the Cobra thing, the meetup.
Yeah, the meetup thing. That's how we got to know each other.
Mm-hmm. He's good people. But that starts on the 1st. Check it out, because you get the options piece, you get the small caps piece. Not a lot of places do that.
That's right.
All right, man. We'll throw this out there on Twitter. Talk about New Age Wall Street some more. I'm excited for that. 2 more days, and then we're live, as they say.
That's right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking man.
Getting some people trading with us or whatever,
Yeah, and I'm not expecting. I would prefer not to. I think what you said 2 minutes ago, like a smaller, close-knit group of people. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think sometimes if you get rooms with hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people, it's a mess, absolute mess. So I think it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can knock out some more of these bangers on the 1st. Have a good first day. But
we'll definitely have to do more of these trade review videos. Yeah,
and that's the thing we talk about too. Like when we get into New Age Wall Street and we're doing things with groups of people that ask to see breakdowns or trade review. We're going to start doing more of these for the New Age Wall Street, but they'll also be on YouTube. So it'll kind of be in both places, but obviously the bulk of the material will be in New Age Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll put the link in the description. New Age Wall Street. Check it out. That's about all I got, man.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, this was fun.
Keep it short and sweet. I'll holler at you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll holler at some people on the 1st in New Age Wall Street. And, you know, same as usual. Like, share, subscribe. Tell us we suck. Tell us we're awesome. Tell us anything. And, yeah, because we had the one guy tell us, he was like, hey, turn your music down when you're doing trade review.
Yeah.
Good freaking feedback, because 100%, if we're sitting there doing trade review and the music's blasting, can't hear what we're talking about. So tell us stuff. But anyway, all right, man. Well, that was fun. Holler at you tomorrow. Holler at y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.